What's a color that you would use to describe yourself and why?
Hmm.
The idea, the concept behind this question is to have you truly look at yourself,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and to try to, in some way, categorize yourself. Um,
That's like so interesting. I feel like this is a very like important question. This is a really important question, I feel like. Because it's like one, I think like for the people who are just saying, "Oh, I'm just going to say what my favorite color is and this that." And they'll just do something like red or blue or just any of like the distinct colors.
yeah.
I think that might be a person who hasn't really thought of themselves, hasn't really like really deep dive into what they are, or they don't have the intellectual, they don't have the art, they can't articulate how they feel about themselves, which I think is really important. So I think having that emotional intelligence or having being able to describe how you feel about yourself and how you like just the feelings that you have in general could help you decipher what type of color you actually think you are. And there is that point. And then I also, this is like getting into like a whole other thing, but I feel like it matters, you know?
It does.
Like gender identity. Like I feel like this kind of goes into like gender identity. And some people are like, oh, your favorite color is just the color that you are. Or like some people are like, oh, I see you as this color, but I want to present myself as this color. I feel like that has a lot to do. Like I can see the comparison there, and I just thought of that. That was really interesting while you're talking.
Yeah. So the idea, the concept behind this question is to have you truly look at yourself, you know, and to try to, in some way, categorize yourself. We're complex.
Yeah,
It's hard to categorize.
yeah, it's
somebody as complex as a human.
Yeah.
And so, in a sense, it's, can you acknowledge those complexities? Can you acknowledge that maybe something has to do with fears? Maybe part of the reason why you stay away from certain colors, or why you wouldn't associate yourself with certain colors, is because you have a deep-rooted fear associated with that color. Or maybe some of it is just about goals, about dreams. And again, sometimes it's where you see like, oh, this color pops up in my life a lot.
Yeah.
And I deeply associate myself with that color, or I feel calm in that color. I feel seen, I feel heard, and those kinds of things. And it's a question that on the surface seems so mundane. It seems so trivial in a sense. It's like, what color am I, really? Like, but when you really get to thinking about it, and the people who answer this question well enough really get something from this question. That's what it does. It opens up the space for you to really get something from it yourself, because now you're like, wow, like I never thought to categorize myself this way. Or I never thought that all of these things compiled could categorize myself into this manner. But also at the same time, you start to realize, wait, other people are categorizing me like this though.
Like as in a discrepancy, as in other people are categorizing you in a way that you wouldn't, or in the same way.
No. And they have similarities.
Okay.
But they'll always be a little different. Because the perspective is so unique.
Yeah.
And again, different people get different parts of you. So sometimes people will be kind of close or kind of spot on. Like they'll be like, oh, like you said, like, I feel like I'm a red. Well, sometimes maybe some person's going to come around and be like, well, I feel like you're like an orange, or I feel like you're like maybe a maroon or something like that, something close, but not really on it.
Yeah.
And then you're going to also have some people that might be able to recognize like, well, like Basil wants to be this way. So maybe somebody will say purple, or maybe somebody will say something close to purple. I feel like you're a blue or a magenta or something like that. And so you kind of will see that in a sense, not necessarily that people won't be able to get the true you, right? But you can see just how different you display yourself to other people in your life and to the world, because I mean, in that sense, you have all these different faces and phases and all these kinds of things. So, yeah.